Cast your mind back to 2015. Arsenal had the number one rated defense in the league. We had Monreal, we had Mertesacker, Koscielny, and we had Callum Chambers playing at right back. We also had Cazorla, and we also had Ramsey in the middle. We also had the holding midfielder in terms of defensively was Francis Coquelin. So there's a few things that happened there. Arsenal let in 20 goals in that calendar year, the lowest of any Premiership team. I believe the second team was Man United with 26. So we were the best by a long way. And this was only 4 years ago. So the following year, what followed on to that was the front three in the same formation. Yeah, we're talking about the 4-2-1-3. The following year, 2016, 2017, we went on to become one of the top scorers in the league. We talked about this before. Walcott, Sanchez, and Giroud up front were just terrorising defences with Ozil pulling the strings. So I'm going to name my Arsenal 11 right now for the starting season, and let's get to it. I'm getting a lot of guys who are telling me, yeah, who's going to play the holding midfielder? Is Xhaka going to be the captain? Arsenal's always had a problem with leadership, and the captain notoriously has always been on the bench for most of the part. So I think here what we've got is probably the same situation. I would definitely bench Xhaka. So number one in goal is going to be Leno. I think that's a lock. We've got no problem with him. Everybody would agree that Leno is going to be the future and is the future, and he's the number one goalkeeper hands down. Number two, so on the left wing, I'm going with Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney would definitely be that progressive choice at the left back position, because at the tail end of last season you could see how bad Monreal was off the pace. I mean, you know, him and Koscielny just really fell off a cliff when it came to certain displays, and really can't trust somebody like him regardless of the experience. You're just trying to get off on the right foot in a new generation, so you want as much new faces and younger players assimilating themselves into Emery's system as soon as possible. So don't try and hang on to the dead wood. Remember, guys, the dead wood has failed this team for many years. So it's time for us to move on. So at right back, again, although he might not be 100% fit, it would be Hector Bellerin. In the meanwhile, you got to go with Maitland-Niles. But Bellerin, as I said, he was one of the most improved players along with Holding in Emery's new system, and a big part of that 22-game unbeaten run. And people really forget how much of a key factor Bellerin was, not just defending, but what he added to the attack. I mean, as he was picking up that system real good, and he was helping to provide a lot in the final third. And I think we kind of forget about that, because at the latter parts of the season, Lacazette and Aubameyang were left out on an island by themselves with no help and no support. So really happy to see when Hector Bellerin comes back. But in the middle, we're going with Socrates and Holding. And that's quite important, because it's still, although we can play Chambers, and I'm a big fan of Chambers, Socrates provides us with that experience at the back. And last year, if we can key on his whole season, he probably had maybe one or two bad games for the whole year. So that's talking about somebody who brings that much stability, experience, and leadership into the team. And actually, I would go as far to say that Socrates would probably get the armband for me. I know it's controversial because he's only been with the team a year, but listen, leaders lead by example, and my man really puts a foot wrong. So for me, Socrates gets the armband, and he's in the middle with Holding. Holding, as you know, is coming back from that injury that he had at Man United. When he played, we never lost a game last season when he played. So Holding gets a lock. But this is where things get interesting. So we're going to the two Holding midfielders now. I would go with Torreira and Ceballos. Depending on what teams we play, I would go with Torreira and Chambers. And why I would go with Chambers? Because remember, Chambers was the number one rated defensive midfielder in the league last year. Passes intercepted, tackles made. There was nobody better than him in the league. And a lot of people might say, yeah, but Fulham was under pressure because the system they ran, it doesn't make a difference. You as a player have to statistically get yourself into those positions to make tackles, and you have to get yourself within the passing lanes and the gaps to stomp out passes, and that takes range, timing, and vision. And Chambers had all of that. I think he's a real prospect for Arsenal going on into the future. And while Ceballos is only here on a year's loan, I really think that Chambers and Torreira could be the future as far as holding midfielder goes. So that's a really key important part. If not, you can put Chambers in there and put Salibas at the 10, but the 10's got to go to Ozil. There's no way that you would even think about putting anybody in front of that front three that we now have in there outside of Ozil. He is the world's number one player when it comes to passes, chances created, and obviously his assist speaks for itself. He didn't really get the opportunities last year because we benched him for 3 months, but this is Ozil's time to shine. And we've always talked about building a team around him and making use of his skills. This is what making use of his skills looks like, guys. No doubt about it. Ozil goes in at the number 10, and the front three, well, the front three speaks for itself. The front three, we go with Aubameyang on the left, which again, he was there when we had our 22 winning game last season. All things went into the pan when we put him back into the middle, and it just was never the same. Yes, he had a strong finish towards the end, but this is a guy who just didn't utilize his skill set last season. He's got the pace and the ability to go past defenders, and at the beginning of the season last year when he was out left, he just didn't do it. But in pre-season and on the back end of last year, we've seen Aubameyang utilize those skills and make use of himself as a wingman, cutting in, coming in from the side and providing assistance or goals, supporting the anchorman striker. And that anchorman striker is Lacazette. Do we need to say any more? No. Lacazette right now is the number 9 that this team's been begging for since Ian Wright. He's a fox in the box. He holds up the play really well. He brings others into play. He has the vision. He has the work rate that we need, and he's our man. And I expect him to have a more productive season once the formation settles down, because we know formation was a mess last year. We literally played interchange between 3 or 4 formations as the season went on, and the guys were never really relaxed. There was so much chop and change. That's one of the things that Emery had a knock on for last season. So that's Aubameyang as your anchor man. And obviously the new boy on the right hand side who's left footed, who can use his ability, skills to cut in from the right side and give defenses all kind of problems, is Pepe. Pepe is my man who's going to be on the right in the front three. And with that, guys, that's my top 11. That's going to be the team that I'm going to choose to open up the season. And I think if we go well, once this Tierney deal is signed, if we have a good start, anything's possible for this team. I'm not talking about title challenges, not with our defense. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about, first and foremost, this year, stability in year 2. That's what we need to build up the focus on bringing in a prime centre-back for next season, someone who can replace Socrates and play next to Rob Holding. I think that's the key factor. If we get rid of Mustafi and Koscielny, we're talking about 35, 40 million there, and that's something we might even get within the next week. But for now, that's the first 11 that I would go in with. Let me know what your choices are. Thanks for supporting this channel. Huge influx of subscribers now coming to support us. So thank you very much. Guna Squad, again, big shout out there on WhatsApp. You guys have been building up the tension every single day, every minute of the day. It's really good to have you guys along for the ride. 101, big respect to you guys. 7 years in the making, and we've got a fantastic place on Facebook that you guys can come in, visit, be a part of. We're over 3,000 now, and we're just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So I really thank you guys for the support that you've had for Facebook and on WhatsApp. It's been amazing, and we're going to grow, 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 grow. And why? Because we love Arsenal. Yeah, peace to you guys. Thanks, and I'll catch up with you soon.